my heart is beating and expanding in love for each one of you. In our community of intentional creativity, we often say, may love be at the center of all choices. And so today I am here with an invitation from my heart to yours to deepen your practice with intentional creativity. I'm inviting you to join me for the consecration of this red thread. Now, the intention for this message to you is to invite you to join us not only for the Way of the Red Thread seminars, complimentary series for our community, but also to invite you to consider joining us for the Red Thread Intentional Creativity Guide experience. Really, it's a training, but it's an experience where we'll spend the entire summer focused in connection and love and joy and really a sacred space, because every woman who comes into the training designs her own self-initiation, and never at a more poignant time than where we are in right now that a self-initiation that you can do yourself from around the world is relevant. And however, I will just put a sidebar in that we do have a date on the calendar for an in-person gathering at the completion of our time together. So the invitation to the seminar, invitation to join us for the training, and now this third invitation, which is to join me in consecrating this red thread for all of those who are going to be coming into the training. For over 11 years, we have been training women in intentional creativity through Color of Woman, through Motherboard, and through Red Thread. It is truly a profound stewardship to guide women into leadership, not based on just how gifted they are, whether they have healing capacities, whether they're a great orator, whether they already have a developed practice, but simply the call to guide and serve others with the gifts you have as being enough, and then to develop the skills and the tools to gather others into circle. Red Thread is the foundational course for all of our trainings. In fact, if we started at the beginning, this would be the very first course that I would invite you to take if you desire to be a carrier of the red thread. And so the women who come into the community end up staying with us. Once you graduate, you become a part of the guild, and it's a powerful experience. In the past, we haven't invited the Red Thread graduates to come into the guild, but this year we are. We're changing things because we want you to be able to feel connected once you graduate. So that's one of the big changes. Another big change is teaching you more intentional creativity tools that you can use in circle virtually and in person when that time comes. So there's all kinds of creativity. We also have a whole bunch of different guest teachers who use Red Thread and intentional creativity in their circles. And so by either joining us for the seminars, participating in whatever way you do with intentional creativity, you're saying yes to supporting the leaders, teachers, healers, shamans, and guides of the future. Women who are saying yes to service, yes to stewardship, yes to tending the land and the stories and one another. And so I'm going to be using this red thread throughout the rest of this year. And so I'm just inviting you to join me. I've got water delivered, special from Emily Greaves from Tepeyac, Nuestra Senora. There's Blessed Mother water here from around the world. And I just invite you to say prayers for women's leadership with me. I just can't say how important it is at this time for there to be women guides and leaders. The way that our world is going, I don't think it would have turned out quite like this if more women were in positions of power, because our inherent desire, whether we have children or not, is to preserve land and species, air and water. animal, plant, mineral, creatures, stories. And so we need powerful women's voices. And I believe that all of us has that capacity. Not all of us says yes to doing that, often because we're afraid, because we have wounding. We feel like we're not up for it. Someone else is better at it than we are. But in our community, it isn't based on the shiniest, the brightest, the educated, the most talented. It's based on the heart, the woman who desires to be a part of and call her own circle. So it's to her that I consecrate this thread today. And I ask you if you will bless with me to consecrate this red thread. Thank you, Nuestra Señora. As I place my hands on this red thread with this water from a black Madonna from this land, I just ask this thread be blessed for all the future guides, leaders, teachers, coaches, healers, and that all of us who are connected along the red thread would feel that sense of connection and that call. And let the women who may be shaking in their boots or afraid to say yes to their call dip their toe in the ripple of sacred water and consider joining us in this community of women. May those who are called come. Thank you. Thank you. You can just extend your hand and hold it up towards this red thread, because this red thread is now consecrated. A red thread like this is called a talisman. Talisman comes from the Greek word teleo, meaning to consecrate. So we're consecrating this red thread. The red thread stories from many different traditions and lands and cultures are infused into the training. I love that we have stories from South Africa, from Asia, and from North America and South American continents, Australia, from all over the world. There are legends about the red thread. That's what makes it such a powerful tool for connection. In fact, if you think of our earliest creative ancestors who came out of Africa over 80,000 years ago, red was the color that they used, red ochre, to make the first cave art. It's how we know how developed they were, based on the red that they used. The Native Americans that are part of our community have talked about it as the good red road. The beautiful Asian traditions talk about it as always moving toward each other as a form of destiny. All the different traditions have different meanings, and whatever one calls to you, or that's within your own cultural framework that you work with, is a part of the great weaving. But that we have a symbol like this, that we have this symbol that is common through so many different traditions and we didn't know, is such a powerful thing. And I invite you to it. Nobody owns the red thread. It's not a brand. Nobody needs to be trained in order to use it and share it. It's just for those of us who are desiring self-initiation and a container and some structure through the way of the red thread. Then I invite you to consider joining us, at least for the complimentary seminars, or coming forward to join us for the red thread training, where you could become an intentional creativity guide. So with love, from my heart to yours, I just send you blessings today with so much love.